Hello to you all. So it is the Goddess of Everything podcast brought to you by the Goddess of Everything, Jo Ripley. And I'm here to talk to you today about Mercury Retrograde. So we're going to have a little conversation. Imagine that we're just sat across from each other and we're talking about Mercury Retrograde. And it's the one thing as a moonologer and astrologer that I get asked about an awful lot. Like people say to me, "Oh my goodness, what's happening? It's Mercury retrograde!" And so it's definitely a time that people seem to know a lot about, or they think they know a lot about, and they get very stressed about it. They'll plan the whole diaries around it. And so I'm going to tell you a few things really because I actually really like Mercury retrograde. I'm going to tell you why in a minute and how you can use it for your benefit because not everybody knows this stuff and they always seem to. One thing I've noticed in life is sometimes we have this tendency to want to blame things. When things are not going well, we find something to blame. And yes, I am a very big advocate for looking at the sky, looking at astrology and but I'm not a big advocate for pointing at the full moon and going, "It's your fault." The poor full moon, poor Mercury. Yes, they do bring changes into our lives. But everything I truly believed is created for our benefit, and adversity is part of life. And so, personally, this is my take on it. I believe that retrograde is an awesome time to go back, to review, renew. Not always so good when you're saying, "My computer won't work. Why is my computer turning off? Why have I had to replace everything? And why are all my files broken?" Well, what it's reminding you of is the importance of the fragility of things and that it's important to take care of things and it's important to be organised. So our Mercury retrograde, as much as it is, seen as the runner, it is a very fast planet and it is the messenger. And when it's in reverse, it starts messing up some of our technology at times. It starts messing up some of our relationships, our communications, but also it reminds us that we can go back and we can redo things. And sometimes when we redo something, we look at it with fresh eyes and we actually create it better than we had it before. So there is opportunities in there. There's opportunities in everything. And rather than pointing at something and going, "It's your fault," maybe we can look at things and think, well, this was an opportunity. Through a lot of hardships in my life, things that, like communication in particular, I was a very traumatized young person. I have been in recovery from this for quite a long time, and every now and again I'll get a lesson about learning to be more compassionate to myself, more compassionate to others. And so we're all on the journey of learning. And I think when Mercury retrogrades around, it just reminds us to just take a little bit more time than what than maybe we normally would. So, rechecking everything. So if you think about Mercury retrograde, we think about the words. I would say like rewind, review, reset, and reconnect. It's a time to reconnect with yourself because the things that you did before won't always work forever. And so the things that we learn, the adversities that we have, the challenges teach us about, better communication, how to speak, how to act in certain ways. And I think these retrogrades are going to be quite enlightening for some people. The first part of the retrograde, so this retrograde is actually going to span, this next one that's coming up in August, is going to span from the 5th of August through to the 28th. I nearly said the 22nd there. Through to the 28th. So it's a good period of time in August there. And this is why it's important to get your ducks in a row. There is a shadow period before and after that. So 2 weeks either side usually is the shadow period. So as I'm recording this, we're already in the shadow period. And so from the beginning of the retrograde, which is taking place just after the new moon, which means that we've got all that new moon energy. Go and listen to the new moon video if you get a chance. And this is going to add a little bit of extra information, like extra flavour onto it, because we start with the retrograde for Mercury in the sign of Virgo. And often people will say, oh, it's ruining my technology, it's messing everything up. Well, Virgo is actually all about organisation. So if you're not organised before this retrograde comes, there's a potential here that you could actually end up with a lot of problems. If you're not organised, get your filing systems in order, and make sure you got your passwords protected on things. Obviously, I can't give advice here because this is not about advice. It's just about talking about Mercury retrograde and talking about it in a way that's that I think, for me, it's just about speaking about everything as having a higher octave and a lower octave. So if something that, there is a higher octave of this, which means that there's a helpful side to it that makes us review things. It helps us to clean things up. Virgo's a very clean sign. It likes to clean things up. It likes to take care of health and well-being. So maybe some of you will be really taking care of your health and well-being and reviewing that. That being said, depending on which house Virgo is in your chart, that's where you'll be getting your review period between the 5th and the 14th of August. From the 14th of August till the 28th. You sure it's the 28th? Yeah. So 14 days there. There's going to be a change into the sign of Leo. So Mercury retrograde is actually going to go through Virgo and Leo at this time. And so Leo energy is all about confidence, all about leadership, it's all about power. And so it's asking you to reconnect in with those things, and maybe you need a redo of those in your life. Maybe you need to see where you could implement more confidence in your life, maybe even more boundaries in your life. I'm just hearing that from my spirit guides. So looking at Leo's energy, it's very powerful, it's very dominant. So just being very aware of the potential for people to be more dominant, or yourself be more dominant as well. And so, because some people, they want to hear certain things, but they don't always want to hear everything. They don't want to be told what to do. And so we have to be careful not being too bossy or pushy with people. So that's just something to bear in mind. But remember, this retrograde period, which has got 2 different signs in it, they're both opportunities for us to refine things. They're opportunities for us to refine our communication, how we come across in the world. And so looking at the houses where Mercury is making the change in your chart, learning about that is really important. And so that you can then know what's coming up. Like Libra risings, you are going to have an interesting time, because there may be secrets that are exposed. And then, there may be some things that to be reviewed within your friendship circle coming up. So there's big things coming up for everybody. Go and learn about your houses. And if you want to know more about the houses, then you can always join my Lunar Abundance Queens, which has access to thousands of pounds worth of videos. And you can learn all about your astrology there. So if you're interested, let me know. So this is, remember, it's about a redo, it's about review and reevaluation. And Virgo, particularly the Virgo season, is really good for research. So if you wanted to go deep on something, take some time out and go deep on a subject, because this is going to be the right energy for that. And maybe it's time for you in the Leo part of the review period to review, maybe come back to something that you have, you started a project a while back, a creative project, and it's been set on the back burner. This is an opportunity or a time where you can come back to that and put some interest back into that. So just think about the positives of how we can use this. Yeah, fair enough, there may be, like for Libra rising, there might be a secret that gets exposed, and so this is why we need to move with clean hands and clean hearts. I always say, clean hands, clean hearts. At the end of the day, I'm not perfect, but I'm doing the very best I can, and I'm sure a lot of you are all the same. People in my world are generally doing the best they can, and they're good people. So Also, I'm going to say something else about Mercury retrograde, because I often find that I love Mercury retrograde. I get a lot more done in it for the reason that I was born in Mercury retrograde season. So it's worth having a look on your chart and just seeing if you were born in the retrograde period. Because if you were born in the retrograde period, it's likely that the retrograde isn't as well, tumultuous. I'm going to touch wood as I say that, because I'm hoping that this one's not too bad. But yeah, go and look at your houses, learn about your chart. It's really fascinating. And the one thing I'll say is make sure you take care of your romantic relationships during this time. You know, relationships that you really prize and you feel, you know, strongly about are important. And so refine that communication and take your time when you're speaking. Don't send the email before you've reread it. Check your spelling mistakes. And yeah, that's just like the main thing. Make sure you send the text to the right person. But Virgo's a great time. Remember, research, learning, going deep on a subject. And then Leo, you know, the review may be a creative thing that you've put on the back burner or you forgot about. I've got a few of them, so I need to get my finger out. I need to get moving on them. So this is all the books that I've been writing. So I think I might put that time to good use. And obviously, we've got the studio opening on the 8th of the 8th, which is the Lionsgate portal. And like I said, retrograde seems to be a time where things come to fruition for me. So I've just got to go with the flow, I think, and I wanted to open on the 8th of the 8th, so we're going to go for it and see how it pans out. That being said, it's an 11-month for me, so I'm hoping it's not too crazy. But yeah, numerologically, I mean, and we're going to be having a numerologist on the show in a short while, so can't wait till that podcast will land for you all. So stay tuned, keep coming back, keep sharing with your friends, and yeah, we can't wait to hear more from you. If you've got any comments, anything that you'd like us to talk about, then we're more than welcome to hear from you. Thank you so much. Have a great day.